Awesome. Okay, so as a lot of you know, I'm going to be entering the Sororitas, the SSVM, the Servants of the Lord and the Virgin Matera, whichever one you want to call them, or the blue ones. That's how like, most of them know the ones. You mean the blue ones? Yeah, those ones. So those were, I'm going to be entering the religious order in hopefully July 26th, God willing, if he allows that. I really hope so. But so I guess I'm supposed to be talking about like my vocation and like how I kind of like learned this was my vocation. It all kind of started in 8th grade when my sister, I think she came home for like a visit or something, and I had like went up with them with the sisters for like a few days, just spent the night, and I was like, wow, I really like just love this order so much, and it was just awesome. They just had like so much joy, and there was so much like beauty about them. And then so I was in 8th grade, and there is they have an aspirancy, which is kind of like a minor seminary but for sisters. So it's for girls who are in high school who are discerning but don't really know yet. So you can go there to just help discern and just live with the sisters. And so this house was in Pennsylvania, and so one weekend my dad and I went up to go visit. And I loved it so much. Like, Mother and I had our interview. I was like getting so excited I could enter like next year. And it was super exciting for me. And I came home and I made the bad decision of telling my not so great friends at the time. And they said, Grace, it's such a stupid idea. Why would you do that? You haven't even had a boyfriend yet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. So I stopped that real quick. But so through the years, I'd always stayed close with the sisters. And one of the things that like really, really helped me was pizza nights. If you guys don't know what pizza nights is, it's so amazing. Okay, Sean knows what pizza nights is. But so pizza nights, pretty much, they have them at the brother's house and at the sister's house. And it's open to high school girls and high school guys. Well, high school guys for the brothers, high school girls for the sisters. And you just go in there, you have an hour of adoration, you talk to them, you have like I can't speak English, sorry. You hang out with them and have pizza, and it's so awesome. I think that's where I really first learned to connect with the sisters. And it wasn't just like, over time, it wasn't just like, oh, like I'm going to the sisters, it's like the sisters. But soon it was like, they're my sisters, they're my family. And it wasn't only because my sister is a religious sister in that order. I mean, it definitely helps so much that she is, so I could really get connected with them. But once Kansi left, I kind of had to take charge by myself, getting to know the sisters. And so that's what I did over the past few years. And I always really loved hanging out with them. And I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. I love this so much. But it was whenever someone would say, like, are you discerning religious? I was like, no, not me. Like, maybe, like, if I'm, like, 35 and, like, still not married. But, I mean, I was like, no, I plan on getting married and, like, having, like, kids and having a big family. Because that's just, like, all I really wanted in life. And I plan, like, keeping them Catholic and being a really great religious Catholic family. But definitely I did not want, it's not that I didn't want to be a sister, but I couldn't see myself as being a sister. Because I mean, my siblings definitely told me, they're like, Grace, you would never be able to sister. You're too weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, like, have you seen them? They're really weird, too. But, so, yeah, it was kind of just, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I love them and love hanging out with them, but I just never saw myself as that. And then over the years, I love journaling. And I actually went back to my journal a few days ago. It was like going through it, and I thought I really only had a religious vocation after I felt the call. But I realized I had been feeling a call to religious life for like years, and I've been journaling about it, but it never really clicked that it was like, this is an actual vocation you can actually decide to do. So it was always just a thought. But then last February, I went to spiritual exercises, and if you don't know what spiritual exercise is, it's like you go and it's like a silent retreat for like 3 days, and it's by St. Ignatius of Loyola. And so you have points, the priest will talk and like give you different things to meditate upon, and then you're silent the whole time, so you can only meditate on those. But so I went on there, and I was about to do daytime prayer, and my whole like point, before this, I really wanted to go to Ave Maria University. And I talked to my dad about it. It was like awesome. I was getting my stuff ready. And when I got home from spiritual exercises, I was gonna try to, apply to Ave. And that wasn't God's will. But, so on the spiritual exercises, I said, okay, God, like, if you really want me to, like, be a religious sister, just tell me. Because before this, I was like, oh, if you want me, like, send me a blue flower. It had been like 3 years and there was no blue flower. But I realized it was kind of an unrealistic, like, thing to ask God for. It was too in your face, this is it. But, so right before I was about to do daytime prayer, I was like, listen, God, I really want to know my vocation is. Can you please just tell me? And then I started reading, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Psalm 45, and he says, O daughter, take ear to my word. The Lord is your king, and the king desires your beauty. Come and pay him homage. And that sounds like kind of just like not much, but for me in that moment, that was God's way of saying, like, why aren't you coming? I've asked you so many times, and like you haven't said yes yet. So since then, I have said yes, and I told my mom. And I started talking to Mother Servant, which is the Mother Superior and the Vocations Director of that order. And it was a really easy process because God and I talk a lot. And so I pretty much told him, like, listen, I get stressed out super easily. Just please don't let this stress me out. And it has been like the most peaceful process ever. But so, like, I'm only 16, and a few people have asked me, like, especially my grandma, she has to remind me, like, well, you're only 16, how do you know? But it's not about your age or, like, what, like, level skill you're at. It's just God wants you for who you are, whether it be you're, like, 16 or you're 35 or wherever you're at. But he's always calling you to something, and so it doesn't have to be huge, like a religious vocation. Like, if he's calling you to be nice to your siblings, he's gonna call you anywhere. But so that's being called at a young age, it was definitely a little bit scary at first, because I'm like, I'm only 16, I've like not really lived yet. And so I was talking to my spiritual director about that, and also spiritual directors are amazing. You should definitely get one if you don't have one. But he was saying, like, Brace, don't do anything stupid because, like, you're so young, you haven't done much, and when you leave, you don't want to mess something up or something. But yeah, being really young, it was at first really scary, but God just gives you so much peace when you are doing his will. So it was scary at first, but now it's just like, this is it. This is like what God's calling me to. If he wanted me at 16, then he called me at 16. One of the other questions was like, if you like go in, do you have to stay in? No. If I went in, when I go in on July 26th, and then like a few like weeks, months, years, however so many, like, yeah, years or whatever, I like decide this is not the vocation for me, I can definitely leave. So it's not like you're locked in there. But you do have, it's 8 years of discernment. So after the 8 years, you are locked in. But it's because and God knows that, or that God knows that he wants you there and you're willing to be there. That's how you put it. But yeah, so it's 8 years of discernment. So if it was like you're scared about like your vocation and something, just even if you like don't go into, just try it out. Like, go to the pizza nights, go hang out with the sisters. I guarantee you will love them. Or, guys, go to the brothers or diocesan priests, you do you. But it's absolutely amazing. Also, I wanted to talk about a little bit about journaling. If you don't journal, you should definitely do so, because it's already hard enough to like talk to God, but then when it's like just you thinking, it's a lot harder. But like what I've learned is kind of like writing love letters to God. Just being like, like, my day was rough, like, but I was reading your words, and this is what I got out of it. And so writing it down is so much more fruitful than just thinking. I mean, praying and meditating is awesome, but definitely writing it down was a huge blessing for me. So the struggles of entering religious life, you definitely, my family members, well, my immediate family, they were very happy for me, good, strong Catholic family, but I definitely got some interesting feedback from my aunts, uncles, my grandparents. They're like, "Are you sure? Is this really what you want me to do? What you want to do?" And it made me question a little bit, and I was like, "But they're it's them asking me. It's not God asking me are you sure that?" Well, He's always saying it's your choice, but it was just a lot easier to not ignore your family, but if it's not God's words, then don't take them too seriously. But I can't remember which saint it was, but he said the number one thing getting in between you and your vocation is your family. Because, and actually I've heard a lot of experiences with this, my spiritual director, Father Mihao, his dad didn't want him to leave, and he held on to him for 3 hours and wouldn't let him go till he finally had to go get his, go to his flight to head for America. But yeah, it was, so if family's stopping you, or they're saying oh, you don't really think about that, or you want a big family, I want grandkids, do that. But yeah, if it's not God's words, and you'll know if it's God's words or not. If it's God's words, you're gonna feel peace about it. If it's not, you're gonna question it all the time. So yeah, and then also a few years ago, I had really bad depression, and so it was just really hard for me to think about a vocation, because when you're just not thinking about the right things, it's hard. You in that state, I was just what can make me happy, what can I do to get out of this state? And it was just all about me. And then when I asked God, okay, what can I do for you? What can I do? What do you want me to do? He helped me so much by just saying this is what I want you to do. I want you to try to go to daily mass as much as you can, read my words. And so yeah, just asking him what he wants to do, even if it's the smallest thing. It doesn't have to be your vocation. Vocation's something you should work up to, but it's not you're in 8th grade and you're okay, what's my vocation? I need it now. Because God didn't give me my vocation until, well, He gave it a little bit in 8th grade, but not really until after high school. But so yeah, so don't, if you're stressing about your vocation, it's okay. You're not gonna fail if you don't follow your vocation, or you don't if you don't find it out now. So prayer life. My prayer life was really simple before I really got hardcore into my faith, and even afterwards it was really hard to keep with prayer life, because it wasn't in my schedule. At summer camp, it is, you have mass and adoration every day, so it was so much easier when I was here. But during the school year, it was oh yeah, I'll pray at mass, or before mass or whatever. But it just it wasn't a priority for me. But after taking it into my own hands and saying, listen, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, it wasn't just a check the box, but it was this is what I know I need to do in order to be happy. And so it was well, that does kind of sound like check the box, but it wasn't. It was definitely a call from God that He wanted me to do those things. And so after doing that, it was just a lot easier to get through things, and to deal with people, and just yeah. But so since I've said yes to my vocation, I've definitely had a change of heart about many things. So a lot nicer than my siblings. But yeah, being open to God was probably the biggest thing for me, because if you're not open to Him, because I was asking my vocation, but it was if it's religious life, no, but it's marriage, yeah, definitely. So it wasn't open to what He wanted to say. So until I was ready to say, listen, I'm open for both, or we'll open to all three, like single life, married life, or like religious life. And so, because before I was only open to married life, and so he wasn't going to give me a vocation if he knew I was going to say no. So he waited for me to be open to all of them. And I could have still said no. I can still say no. I can decide this isn't what's right for me. Or even if God tells me no, like after I enter and he's saying, okay, this is not what I want you to do anymore. That's totally fine. Then I'll just, discern out and start the process over again. But yeah, so any questions?
Where are the pizza nights for, are they?
They are in Upper Marlboro and in DC. So they're the first Friday and third Friday. Mm-hmm. And Rich and my mom usually take people, so.
We'll be emailing you.
Yeah.
So with the journaling thing, I've tried it before, but got like 1 or 2 days and it sort of just fell away. And I tend to have a hard time like doing a daily examination of conscience and like doing daily like sort of like a wrap up meeting for my day. But do you have any like tips on how to like keep that going?
Well, the first thing I did was just set an alarm because I just didn't remember anything. But after a while, after it was like you really got a like good basis with God and you could talk to Him, it was a lot easier. You're like, oh, okay, so God, this is happening, and I like caught myself like, wait, I should probably write this down. So then I would start writing it down. So like set an alarm for now, and then eventually you'll just like it'll like journaling. I love journaling, and but yeah, soon it'll just like you'll remember just because you want to. It's like you remember to eat because you want to, not because your stomach is growling, but because you want to. But yeah.